It's time to put the good in your morning. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Today, a mysterious monolith is found in a Utah desert.
Wait, Stanley Kubrick just come back? What is it, 2001 and 2010 revisited? Now you got me scared. My goodness. All I was worried about was that thunderstorm activity coming out of Oklahoma. Now I got monoliths. We'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
We have how a big event in Pittsburgh is going to look a little bit different this year. The KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 starts now.
Thanks for joining us on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. McDonald County authorities released the name of the suspect and the victim from a weekend shooting death. Prosecutor's office charged Tavion Thomas of Knoll with second-degree murder. Thomas is accused of shooting and killing Jonathan Arianos of Knoll at a Knoll apartment complex Sunday morning. 19-year-old Carrie Morgan is arrested in connection with looting tied to the shooting death of retired St. Louis Police Captain David Dorn. Morgan is charged with second-degree burglary. Police allege he and several others broke into a pawn shop on June 2nd after a night of looting and violent rioting in St. Louis City. Dorn was shot and killed during the looting at the pawn shop. 2 other men are arrested and charged in Dorn's death. Joplin city officials hold a meeting to discuss how they plan to enforce their new mask mandate. The mandate went into effect last Thursday following a special meeting of the city council. There's been several public comments both in support of and in opposition to the mandate, but many have been wondering how the city can enforce it.
Well, if you read the mask ordinance, we have quite a few options. We have a very strong and very professional health department, and we have a very strong and professional police department, and I would hope that we can just lean into the common sense of Joplin, Missouri and Southwest Missouri to say, let's all just read the ordinance and adopt it accordingly.
We reached out to Captain Will Davis at the Joplin Police Department, who responded by saying, quote, "Our primary goal is educating the public on the ordinance. Our goal with this has not changed from the last time the city enacted the ordinance, and we feel this ordinance is very clear." A Joplin woman has started a petition to recall the city council members who voted for the new mask mandate. 6 of 9 council members voted in favor of the mandate last Thursday. Petition organizer believes the council members should be removed from office for failing to protect the federal and state constitutional rights of citizens. She says the petition needs more than 7,600 signatures to force a recall vote.
And I believe that we very easily have enough people to get it signed. We need 7,600 signatures. I don't think we'll have a problem with that.
Covington hopes to collect enough signatures to hold the recall vote in April. Kansas prepares to launch a media campaign aimed at getting more of its residents to wear masks so the coronavirus does not keep spreading rapidly. Some officials are skeptical that it'll move the needle much. The state has set aside $1.5 million for television, radio, print, and social media ads promoting masks that are set to start before Thanksgiving. But some officials worry politics are driving resistance to masks, and others suggest that people already are bombarded with pro-mask messages. The Kansas legislature plans to spend about $3 million on technology upgrades. Its leaders hope people will be able to watch committee hearings and other functions even if they can't leave their homes because of the pandemic. The upgrades are designed to ensure legislative committee rooms and even conference spaces are outfitted with audiovisual equipment to broadcast events to the public. Move comes as top lawmakers are starting to consider exactly how the legislature will conduct business after it convenes its next annual session in January. The upgrades will include better support for meetings conducted with video conferencing. Well, if you plan to travel this Thanksgiving, whether by air or on the road, the CDC and local health officials advise you to take precautions. The CDC recommends wearing a mask, staying 6 feet apart, avoiding contact with a sick person, and washing your hands or sanitizing consistently. Joplin health officials say you should follow those guidelines and take precautions while on the road. And they say you should avoid going inside gas stations, wipe down gas pumps, and use drive-thrus or food from home as your meals along the way. As Joplin COVID-19 numbers remain high, health officials stress the importance of staying safe.
You know, I think it is important to have a frank conversation. Ask them, you know, if you are sick, stay home. You know, don't put the expectation and the pressure on individuals. You know, it's okay. You know, if you're not feeling well, it's okay. You can stay home.
CDC guidelines for travel during Thanksgiving, along with questions to ask family members on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, Utah public safety officers were stunned last week, and they stumbled upon what looked like something out of 2001, A Space Odyssey.
Called it!
Yep.
I called it!
A mysterious chrome monolith standing upright deep in the remote desert. The officers were in a helicopter helping wildlife workers count bighorn sheep when they spotted the strange sight. Obviously, that's not a sheep. A pilot estimated its height at between 10 and 12 feet. Authorities are investigating the find and are not revealing the location of the monolith. That's random.
I'm sure it's kind of performance art at its finest. They don't know how it got there.
I'm sure you probably do, Michael. I bet you put it there. I wouldn't put it past you.
He may not have put it there.
I don't know, man. You consider 2001 and 2010 and the premise of the monolith and what it is there, the purpose of it to foster life and then the purpose to destroy life and then recreate it. That's kind of scary, man. Sorry if I got a little too deep there on my Arthur C. Clarke novels/movies.
Do you think it has any connection with the current pandemic of why it might have got put there?
No, I think it's really just like a really talented artist who's like, I bet you I can pull this off.
You think Banksy went to the desert?
That'd be pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie to you. That'd be pretty cool.
He made a trip all the way to Utah.
Let's take a live look outside of 7th and Rangeline, outside the mothership, if you will. 7th and Rangeline dry right now, but I tell you what, we've got developments cooking, and right now we're just seeing like spotty little raindrops, nothing big. Look at what's down here. We're gonna slide down to the southwest because we've got something cooking out in western Oklahoma, and what everything is doing, and it's moving at a good clip with lightning on the leading edge of it. It is going to progress southwest and northeast. It's going to make its way right through the 4 states here, be on us here in the next hour and a half, 2 hours. From the Freeman Health System Sky Camera, it's not too bad, but I tell you what, that wind, 15 to 20 miles per hour, puts a little bite in that temperature. It's not a very comfortable 51 degrees, I would say, especially you get in one of those wind tunnels, and while there's not a big gap in between temperatures and wind chills right now, it's certainly a far cry, though. Can't complain. I mean, we were talking about 29s yesterday, so the fact that we're high 40s, low 50s. No complaints for the kiddos. Probably getting out the door, getting to school, dry. It's the umbrella on the way home, whether you're picking them up, whether they're walking. And I don't know, not everybody has school today, but I know there are some districts too, trying to squeeze in a couple more days before it's all said and done. So make sure that they've got the umbrella for the ride home, because once this thing picks up here in the next couple hours, it's going to last all the way through Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning. Wednesday we clear off. We'll go partly sunny, and then look at this. Mostly sunny, Thanksgiving all the way up into the 60s. Tanya and Zach?
That's right. Well, Zach, it's time to talk turkey, right?
Oh, for sure.
All right, getting down to business. Up next, the British pianist takes to the jungle to play for some unconventional concert goers.
And we get a sneak peek at Pittsburgh's Small Business Saturday. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Well, the FDA asked members of its Vaccine Advisory Committee to reserve December 17th and 18th for meetings. A CNN source says those meetings are to discuss a vaccine developed by Moderna. Another meeting already on the books for December 10th will focus on Pfizer's application for emergency use for its vaccine. Moderna and Pfizer both claim their vaccine candidates are 95% effective. Moderna is still waiting for some data related to study participants who contracted COVID-19, but the company says it could apply for emergency use authorization as early as next week. The UK's medicine regulator, MHRA, said it will make a decision on the Pfizer and BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine in the shortest time possible. And they said they have already started their analysis of the data received. Advice from the Commission on Human Medicines will also be taken in consideration before advising the UK government on the safety, quality, and effectiveness of any potential vaccine. MHRA chief executive said that the safety of the public will always come first. Well, another promising treatment for COVID-19 is given approval for emergency use. And there's also a surge in testing as Americans prepare to leave for Thanksgiving travel, which officials are urging people to skip this year. Laura Engel has more from New York.
Drug maker AstraZeneca announced it has produced a COVID-19 vaccine, which shows a promising efficacy rate of 90% without the need for ultra-cold storage like some of the other vaccines in development.
It's a very deployable vaccine, and we need a lot of people to be vaccinated.
AstraZeneca, which has been developing the vaccine with scientists at Oxford University, becomes the third company to report encouraging results this month. The news coming after the Federal Drug Administration Advisory Committee set a date of December 10th to discuss Pfizer's request for an emergency use authorization for its developing vaccine, which has a near 95% efficacy rate. And drug maker Moderna, also on track for approval with its vaccine candidate. The chief scientific advisor of Operation Warp Speed says if all goes well with FDA approvals, immunizations could be in use as early as December 11th, just 2.5 weeks from now. Today, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services announced plans to distribute doses of Regeneron's antibody therapeutic treatment, the same treatment President Trump received when he was battling COVID-19. The question remains, once all these vaccines are approved, how many people will roll up their sleeves? A recent Gallup poll shows 58% of Americans would get a vaccine if offered today and at no cost. The U.S. Surgeon General working to ease concerns about the vaccine being safe.
The most reassuring thing I can say to you, America, is that when they tell me that I can get the vaccine, I will get it because I know that's the best way to protect myself and to protect my family and my community.
Officials with the Centers for Disease Control have been pleading with the public not to travel for the Thanksgiving holiday. Still, the TSA is reporting it screened more than 3 million passengers Friday through Sunday, the highest three-day total since mid-March. COVID testing sites are also reporting long lines across the country as some say they hope to get a negative test so they can celebrate Thanksgiving with their families.
Health experts warn testing formula may not always work, and sometimes it takes a couple of days to get your test results back. They add that this could be the busiest week for testing since the pandemic began. But while on tour in central Thailand, British musician Paul Barton was mobbed by an unruly audience who tugged his hair, stole his music, and climbed all over his piano. Now, Barton played to hundreds of hungry, wild monkeys that he hoped his music could calm at a time when Thailand's coronavirus-induced tourism hiatus meant there were fewer visitors to feed them and less funds allocated for their welfare. The monkeys appreciated Barton's playing, some going as far as sitting on top of the piano to watch him play. He's a very patient man.
Music calms the savage beast.
Oh.
Not calling him a savage beast.
Well, he's like, oh, there's a monkey on my back. I will sway back and forth.
Talk about the concentration that guy has to have. Hey, just want to point out something that Zach, Tanya, and I were talking about here on the Freeman Health System Sky Camera. It's a little bit better when it's dark. Right, they got a beautiful holiday decoration right there on campus. When we take our currents, we kind of zoom in right there, and so sometimes that gets lost. I just want to take just a quick moment and point that out if you have a chance to drive by. Skywatch Storm Tracker. We've just had light rain so far, but look at what's developing down to the southwest. And all this happened. This is just a 3-hour loop. This thing popped up and it's moving fast. So here in the next hour and a half, it'll be right in the forestays, and we're actually picking up a fair amount of lightning right there on that leading edge right there. It's been kind of consistent. It's not looking like anything severe by any means, but just know that's headed our way. I think we'll get the majority of our thunder and lightning though this evening into late tonight. 51 degrees from that same Freeman Health System Sky Camera, anywhere from 46 in Monette, 50 in Independence, and 50 in both Fort Scott and Nevada. Kids won't have any trouble really getting to school. It's just going to be keeping them dry, whether you're picking them up or whether they've got to make a walk home as our rain is going to work in from the southwest. See an uptick in the wind as well. We're already pushing in 15 to 20 miles per hour, so we'll experience some gusts of 25 to 30 miles per hour later this morning and into the afternoon. Temperatures aren't going to be too bad. Very seasonable for this time of year, but let's talk about the rain because, like I said, once it gets on us and it lasts all night long, very heavy rain as a matter of fact, as we push into Tuesday night with that sweeping band coming through. We'll avoid any of the wintry precip. We'll keep that on the west side of Wichita, so that will be nice. So we'll be able to stay well above the freezing mark. After it clears out on Wednesday, we'll get some sunshine there Wednesday afternoon, and then look at this. We'll be done with fog, rain, chilly temperatures. We'll be all the way up into the mid-60s for a beautiful Thanksgiving. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. KOAM News Now Facebook page this morning, as well as our Insta poll. You just go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote to log on and let your voice be heard. Today, major airlines are rolling back some safety measures to accommodate an expected increase in holiday travelers. Now, airlines say Thanksgiving week, it actually could be the busiest they've had since March, despite the recent nationwide coronavirus surge. Mandy Gaither has a closer look at the measures they're easing in response.
Soaring to a new normal, American Airlines, United, and JetBlue announcing they will do away with policies they put in place at the start of the pandemic. But with more people expected to travel this holiday season, airlines are taking notice, adding hundreds of flights to schedules that were slashed earlier this year. Southwest says it will no longer cap capacity on its flights after the Thanksgiving rush, saying in a statement, quote, "Our return to a normal way of booking and operating flights came in concert with a chorus of trusted scientific voices that validated the efficacy of aircraft ventilation systems." JetBlue says it will sell every seat on board its flights starting January 8th of next year. Right now, the airline is capping capacity at 70% on board. Delta is the only major U.S. airline still blocking middle seats as a precaution.
Our consumers are telling us it's working. Our people are telling us they're feeling comfortable in the environment, and we're going to continue to work on getting air travel back.
This all comes in the middle of a COVID-19 surge, but airlines are pointing to enhanced cleaning protocols and new research that supports their decisions. A Harvard study suggests the ventilation systems of an airliner keep virus transmission rates low, as long as everyone is wearing a mask. For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Last week, Delta Airlines said it will keep middle seats empty on its flight, and it's going to keep those middle seats empty all the way through next year. Our question on the KOAM News Now Facebook page this morning is, what do you think, when do you think you'll feel comfortable to fly again? Brenda Chrissinger, she says flying is safer than going to Walmart. Face masks are required and enforced. People realize the risks with traveling and are more respectful of others. Brenda actually flew commercial just the other week. Greg Street says he's going to pass on flying, virus or not. If I can't drive there, Greg says he's staying home. And David Foster actually flew to Turkey back in September. Says he'd do it again, and he plans to. As far as our Insta poll goes this morning, it's been 41% of you saying months after the vaccine is when you'll be comfortable to fly. I find it interesting, though, that 21% say already safe to fly, very close to the 15% that say years after the vaccine. Log on to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Let us know what you think. We'll be back right after this.
Many local businesses have been struggling through the pandemic, so an annual event is becoming more important than ever. And our own Zach Dodge joins us with details of how this annual event will be a little different this year.
Tanya, in Pittsburgh, there are 27 businesses participating in Small Business Saturday, all with great deals. The event always features a passport game where you enter a drawing for a prize if you visit 10 of those businesses. This year, they're going virtual, though, so that people who aren't comfortable going out can still participate. Organizers are encouraging everyone to participate in some way, though, so local businesses can get a boost before the holiday season.
They're the heartbeat of the community. This fourth quarter is so important coming out of the pandemic. We want our small businesses to survive. Each dollar counts, and each dollar is impacted in our community now more than ever.
This is the 4th year for the event in Pittsburgh. Residents are encouraged to mask up if they plan to shop in person.
All right, thanks, Zach. Well, as Thanksgiving is now only a couple of days away, many people are in the midst of traveling to family gatherings, but local health officials want to be sure they stay safe. KOAM's Caitlin Shive has tips from the health department.
Whether you are traveling by bus, car, or plane, the COVID-19 pandemic is still ongoing, and health officials are recommending following certain guidelines to keep you and your family safe this Thanksgiving.
Avoid going inside of gas stations if you can. Carry some hand sanitizer with you, some sanitation wipes, wipe down gas pumps. If you have to stop along the way to eat, of course the safest way is going to be if you pack your own food. Second safest way would be to go through a drive-through.
The CDC has official recommendations on their site regarding travel for Thanksgiving, like checking travel restrictions, getting a flu shot before travel, wear your mask, social distance, wash your hands, avoid touching your mask, eyes, mouth, or nose, bring extra supplies, and know when to delay your travel.
If you're ever on the CDC side, it is very large. There's a lot of layers to it, but we ask individuals to use common sense.
And to have those conversations if there are concerns ahead of time with family you plan on traveling to or who are traveling to you.
I think it is important to have a frank conversation. Ask them, if you are sick, stay home.
Joplin Health Director Ryan Talkin stresses the importance of staying safe during this time, not only for your own health, but the rest of the community as well.
Joplin and actually the majority of the state of Missouri in a red zone, which means it's at the highest risk. So yeah, there is concern.
In Joplin, Caitlin Shive, KOAM News.
You can find more information on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. It's time now to honor today's four-state hero, Hubert Koos, a sergeant in the United States Army. He served in the Korean War from 1952 to 1954 in the 74th Field Artillery Division. A native of Lockwood, Missouri, we salute you, Hubert Koos, our four-state hero. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:32. Let's take a look at today's top stories. McDonald County authorities released the name of the suspect and the victim from a weekend shooting death. Prosecutor's office has charged Shontavion Thomas of Knoll with second-degree murder. Thomas is accused of shooting and killing Jonathan Arianos of Knoll at a Knoll apartment complex Sunday morning. Joplin city officials held a briefing last night discussing several topics, including the mask mandate. The mandate went into effect last Thursday following a special meeting of the city council. A lot of members of the public have spoken out in support of and in opposition to the mandate, and many wonder how the city can enforce it. City leaders say the ordinance spells out enforcement, but it all comes back to the businesses. And a Joplin woman has started a petition to recall the city council members who voted for the new mask mandate. 6 of 9 council members voted in favor of the mandate last Thursday. A petition organizer believes the council members should be removed from office for failing to protect the federal and state constitutional rights of citizens. She says the petition needs more than 7,600 signatures to force a recall vote. Kansas prepares to launch a media campaign aimed at getting more of its residents to wear masks so the coronavirus doesn't keep spreading rapidly. Some officials are skeptical that it'll move the needle much. The state has set aside $1.5 million for television, radio, print, and social media ads promoting masks that are set to start before Thanksgiving. But some officials worry politics are driving resistance to masks, and others suggest people already are bombarded with pro-mask messages. Floodwaters continue to wreak havoc in the coastal town of Bosaso in northern Somalia on Monday. Now, day after Tropical Cyclone Gadi hit with heavy winds followed by unprecedented rains that caused widespread flooding. The cyclone was said to be the strongest ever measured in this part of the world. The governor of Bosaso town described the situation as a huge calamity.
Event, we can find it on the Skywatch storm tracker. We'll start with the contiguous 48 just to kind of set our bearings, and then we will take a trip to Somalia, pick up our infrared radar. There it is right there. That's Tropical Cyclone Gatti, the first ever hurricane strength storm to make landfall in Somalia. And so what you're seeing right there, that's the country of Somalia, the capital of Mogadishu, about right there. And once again, first time they've ever had a storm of this magnitude, so it's hard to prepare for what you've never had before. Let's come on back home, talk about what we've got in the 4 states. Now we're starting to pick up some rain down here on the southwestern edge of southeast Kansas. Look at all the lightning coming right through central Oklahoma. That's been very consistent all morning long. We probably got about another 45 minutes to an hour before it is upon our highlighted counties, and once it starts, it's going to be a wet Tuesday. Live look from the Freeman Health System sky camera in Joplin, 51 degrees. That wind, it puts a little bite in that temperature. You get out in one of those wind tunnels and it gives you a little shiver every now and then. 52 in Chanute, 46 in Monette, and 50 in Miami. A final look at the bus stop forecast. Kids probably get to school, dry. It's the coming home part that we need to worry about. I know not everybody has school, but for those districts that do have it, tell you what's going to happen. The trough of the jet stream right here over the 4 corners, well, this thing is going to push all the way into the Ozarks by the time we get into tonight, and that's what lifts all that storm activity right through us. Now, we had the fog yesterday. We're going to get the rain today. We're going to get chilly temperatures on Wednesday. You know what? Settle in. It's going to be absolutely gorgeous just in time for a Thanksgiving Thursday. Let's go mostly sunny skies and a high in the mid-60s. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. KOAM News Now Facebook page this morning and our Insta poll asking, when do you think you'll feel safe to fly again in the midst of the pandemic? Janet Estep says, I could be at Springfield Airport in an hour. Let me get my purse. It's a great place to fly out of too, Janet. I'm with you. Philip Aaron says, I won't fly until after the vaccine is available and the virus is under control. Now, Earl Haas, he wants the larger bags of those gourmet peanuts. And Glenn Ritchie says, I love to fly, but I doubt I will again. Them pulling back the safety measures for money just shows that they can't be trusted with your life. It's going to take a while to get over that. Now, speaking of, just like Glenn said probably never. As a matter of fact, 14% of our respondents right now say never going to fly again. We do have 43% saying it's going to be months after a vaccine. And I find it interesting, 22% say, hey, ready to rock and roll, just like Janet said. Grab my purse, on the way. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Let us know what you think. Now, as we head into the holiday season, an event that's turned into tradition is really going to have more importance. That's because Small Business Saturday is coming up this weekend. Pittsburgh's made a few changes to keep things safe during the pandemic. Our own Zach Dodge talked to Britton Brenner with the city of Pittsburgh about the upcoming event.
Small Business Saturday is all about spreading that local love with your holiday shopping. We know a lot of people go out for those great deals on Black Friday. Some of them save them up for Monday. But Small Business Saturday is just an opportunity for people to be really intentional about where they're spending their money as they start their holiday shopping, and just making sure that they're supporting their friends and neighbors in the meantime.
And I understand this is the 4th year for the event. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about how it's going to work this year and maybe how it's a little bit different from what people have seen in the past?
Yeah. So obviously with COVID, things are different this year than they've been in the past. But we are doing a similar process. We're having our passports as we've done in years past. You can pick those passports up. They're physical copies at Audacious Boutique, Sonder & Co., Embellish Boutique, Miners and Monroe, or Signet Coffee Roasters. If you're not comfortable picking them up at one of those places, we will have a downloadable PDF on our Facebook event page, Small Business Saturday. It's in Pittsburgh, Kansas. You can find it. You can download that PDF and print it at home. If you're not planning on going out to shop at all on Saturday and doing most of your shopping at home online, that's perfectly acceptable too. We love that. We support that. You can print off your copy at home, write down your order number on each of those squares that you do order from. If you fill out 10 squares, you can drop it off at the last business that you, participating business that you visit, or you can take a photo of that and email it to me, and my email's on the passport as well. So just a lot of options to meet people where they are, make sure they're comfortable, but still allow them to support Small Business Saturday and be a part of our small business community on this really important day.
Thank you very much again, Britton. And we'll hear more about Small Business Saturday and the impact that it has on the community and those businesses a little bit later in the show. Coronavirus restrictions and concerns have fewer people leaving home for the holiday. Most who are traveling will drive and will be saving money this year. CBS's Dania Bacchus explains.
Larice Peoples is preparing for his Thanksgiving trip from Los Angeles to Fresno, California. He's one of the nearly 48 million people expected to hit the road for the holiday.
I decided to stay local in California because my family is back east and decided not to fly there, but actually to drive to see family that's closer.
Because of COVID-19, AAA expects a 10% drop in travel this Thanksgiving. 95% of Americans who do leave home are expected to travel by car. And there's good news for drivers.
Gas prices have just been consistently cheap.
Jeanette McGee is with AAA.
Right now, motorists can find gas for $1.99 or less at 55% of gas stations across the country. Compare that to last year at this time, 1% of gas stations had gas available for $1.99 or less.
The national average for a gallon of unleaded is down about 48 cents from this time last year.
I love these gas prices. I bought a new truck because of the gas prices. So for me, man, the gas prices definitely helps out in my decision being able to drive.
AAA predicts gas prices will stay low through the holiday season.
We've definitely seen gas prices decrease in the past month, and we expect that trend to continue well into December.
McGee suggests if you are hitting the road, be aware of local and state travel restrictions, including quarantine orders, which Larice says he has done. Dania Bacchus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
AAA also projects those who are traveling will drive shorter distances and spend fewer days away. Around 7 million GM trucks and SUVs will need potentially dangerous Takata airbag inflators replaced. The recall will cost the automaker about 1/3 of its net income so far this year. The move coming after the government told GM it had to recall the vehicles in the U.S. The recall covers GM's full-size pickup trucks and SUVs from the 2007 through 2014 model years. They include the Chevy Silverado 1500, 2500, and 3500 pickups. Also covered are the Chevrolet Suburban, Tahoe, and Avalanche, the Cadillac Escalade, GMC Sierra 1500, 2500, and 3500, and the GMC Yukon. The owner of Regal Cinema secures a new $450 million debt facility that will help it stay in business. The move implements an operational measure to give Cineworld $750 million in extra liquidity to stay afloat. This as nearly 650 movie theaters across the U.S. closed last week amid a rise in coronavirus cases. Last month, Cineworld said it would temporarily shut down all of its UK and US locations because of the lack of studio blockbusters releases during the COVID pandemic as the main reason. We'll be right back with more after this, but first let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. An event that's quickly becoming a tradition is more important as small businesses try to finish out a tough year. We take a look at the impact of Small Business Saturday in Pittsburgh and how important it is this year compared to years in the past. Sunglasses, flannel, and, manly stuff.
Quality and classic, kind of timeless looks and apparel at accessible price points.
Davey Froman opened Miners in Monroe almost 2 years ago on Small Business Saturday and credits his success to the support of the community.
A weekend that could be as busy as what this coming weekend is can carry a lot of small businesses for a long time.
Now his sister Darcy Schultz is following in his footsteps, opening a business next door.
It's so special to be right next door to him.
She's pushing to open Books and Borough on Small Business Saturday as well to take advantage of the boon in business.
Just to be a small business in this time with everything going on with COVID and that poses its own challenges. But I think it's important that the community sees that people can rise above.
And those are just 2 of the 27 businesses that will be offering great deals during the event that pushes residents to shop local.
It's just a really exciting day where you can get some great deals, get a jump start on your holiday shopping, but support your local community in the meantime.
Support that all of them are depending on after a year that's been tough for everyone.
We want our small businesses to survive. Each dollar counts, and each dollar is impacted in our community now more than ever.
Looking forward to, like I said, just people getting out and about and the support that we'll receive from the community, and hopefully we can find a way to continue to pay it forward and find ways to give back as well.
Small Business Saturday, by the way, is this Saturday after Thanksgiving. Organizers usually do a passport challenge where anyone who visits 10 businesses on Saturday is entered to win a prize pack. This year, to keep everyone safe, they've made it so residents can shop locally online and still fill out their passport. We'll be right back with Health Watch.
Or weather.
Or weather.
I love you, man. You're the best. All right, Zach, all we had this morning was a little light rain that made its way through, but what we're really paying attention to that's going to be on us here in about the next half hour, 45 minutes, is this line right here, right on 35 in central Oklahoma, because this thing bubbled up fast, and it's making a beeline for us. We knew it was going to be a wet Tuesday. This was anticipated. Lightning on that leading edge, and it hasn't disappointed. It's been very consistent the entire morning. Freeman Health System Sky Camera in Joplin, 52 degrees, but I tell you what, that wind, that puts a little chill in the air right there at 15 miles per hour. You notice the barometer falling, indicator that, yeah, we're going to have a little rain by the time we're all said and done, anywhere from half an inch to really probably an inch and a quarter, inch and a half. So it's going to be a good soaker of a Tuesday. 52 in Chanute, 46 in Monette, and 53 right now in Welch. Now, as far as what we're looking at for the trough of the jet stream, right over here over the Four Corners, it's going to make a good easterly push, make its way all the way to the Ozarks there by the time we get into Wednesday. And so what that does, just follow the arrows, takes everything out of Oklahoma, lifts it right through the middle of the four states. Our temperatures today are going to be pretty seasonable. Average high this time of year, 55, be a little bit above that, but not a whole lot. More importantly, it's the amount of rain that we're going to get. Now, watch this thing just keep on coming down. Let me get out of the way here. That'd be nice. As everything comes out of central Oklahoma, and like I said, every now and then we get a pocket of heavy rain associated with that. High wind going to be our greatest threat, and it's really not too bad on the severe thunderstorm risk map. So we're not looking at anything ultimately severe, but yeah, we're going to see some 40-mile-an-hour gusts, and then really when we get into Tuesday evening and nighttime, that's when we'll see the increase of thunder and lightning as well. Well, paying attention to this band right here. I've been kind of eyeballing that because our models have been very, very consistent about this rolling through during the nighttime hours and really bringing us some heavy rain just late Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning. Now, as we clear out on Wednesday, it's going to be a little bit cool, but then we'll dispatch all the weather concerns for the rest of the week and just have a marvelous, marvelous looking Thanksgiving where we're looking at mostly sunny skies and a high around 63. We'll be back, wrap up this edition of the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. The General Services Administration is now acknowledging Joe Biden as the apparent winner of the 2020 election. A decision by the GSA came more than 2 weeks after CBS News and other media organizations projected Biden's victory. President-elect Biden continues to make plans for his administration. On Monday, Biden said he would nominate Anthony Blinken as Secretary of State, Alejandro Mayorkas as Homeland Security Secretary, and Linda Thomas Greenfield as Ambassador to the UN. President-elect also tapped Avril Haines to be Director of National Intelligence and Jake Sullivan as his National Security Advisor. Many Americans are moving ahead with their Thanksgiving plans despite surging coronavirus numbers. Millions of passengers passed through the nation's airports in recent days, the most since the pandemic hit in mid-March. CDC is urging people to spend the holiday at home, but AAA estimates as many as 50 million Americans will travel to their destinations this week. Let's check in with Michael with a final look at your forecast.
Here it is, coming in from the southwest. Like I said, it's going to be a wet Tuesday. Get out the door here in the next 10-15 minutes. If you're in the far west, you get out unscathed. You got a while, obviously, before it gets into the eastern edge of southwest Missouri as it's going to move southwest to northeast. But no, it's going to last all through the afternoon, evening hours as well. But remember, after we dispatch of this, cooler temperatures on Wednesday and a delightful Thanksgiving, 63 and mostly sunny.
And this is where we usually wrap up the show, but we want to take time to honor someone who means a great deal to us and the people who work here.
On Sunday night, we lost a member of the KOAM family. He's our friend. He's our colleague, more importantly, he's our friend. Matt Newberry passed away.
Now, Matt joined us in 2016 in Master Control and would later become the Master Control Supervisor.
Dude had the ultimate love of sports. Pittsburgh State MIAA here at KOAM. Applied that wealth of sports knowledge, especially on the high school level, driving force behind our annual Pigskin Preview.
And it's been a pleasure to work with Matt over the years. Words just cannot explain how much we'll miss him.
Kind of brought it up during the KOAM Morning News. I'm adopting the Chicago White Sox next year. Matt's favorite team, they will become my America League team.